my presentation is going to focus on that roadmap for companies and corporations. My colleagues have covered other areas for cities and government. This one focuses on corporations. For my background, I'm originally, by education, an electrical engineer from the American University of Beirut. And I have honorary doctorate of business administration from the Gast University. I have acquired several different skills in different sectors. So, in air transport, I have managed Arab Air Services, which is the only aviation consultant in the area. Queen Alia International Airport in Amman, Jordan. I was the project director for its construction and its facilities establishment. And then I became Vice President Technical Services at Royal Jordanian Airlines. This is in the air transport sector. In construction, I did design of facilities, of course the Queen Alia Airport construction, and established facilities management companies. In IT and telecom, I work with SITA. Not many people know SITA because it is owned by the airlines and serves only airlines. Société Internationale de Télécommunications Aéronautique. It manages the largest telecom network in the world. I was president of Southern Europe, Middle East and Africa, 82 countries. I did the Dubai airport system integration. It was the second one in the world after John F. Kennedy. And at that time, there weren't many technologies to allow doing this, so we had to innovate some alternate solutions. I founded Arabi, which is the Arabic global distribution system for distributing airline products to travel agents. Now you hear about Amadeus, Galileo, similar concept. In manufacturing, I have restructured and managed several factories. In education, I'm a co-founder of an e-learning startup and of a company in the UK called Educators Learning Solution, providing training, diplomas, and short programs. I've achieved 2 world records, 1 airport transfer, 0 time to transfer one airport to another without interruption of operation. The second record was I established the first airline IT architecture as per IBM. In sustainable energy area, I'm a corporate executive at a company called Innovo Net Zero Limited, and which provides consultancy on net zero. And what I will be covering is what is net zero that I am referring to, the current status, main challenges, roadmap for corporations, sample technologies, and conclusion. Now, net zero, as Dr. Kafafi just mentioned, it's achieving a balance between the carbon emitted and that removed from the atmosphere. It's impossible to remove emissions totally, just do the balance. The real action started when the UN adopted in COP21 conference in Paris 2015 a target to avoid increasing temperature by more than 2 degrees centigrade, and preferably 1.5. When we say increase versus what? It is versus the pre-industrial area, meaning 1900. At the moment, we stand at 1.1 increase. This was translated into 2 targets, that emissions should be reduced by 45% by 2030 and to reach a net zero balance by 2050. Many people refer to the 45 as 50 because maybe it's easier. The current plans, not what has what has been implemented so far, means an increase of 9% in emissions by 2030. So instead of reduction by 45, we will reach an increase of 9% if nothing new is done. Carbon footprint was just mentioned, which is the total gas emissions created by human activities. Current status. There's an interesting KPMG report on net zero readiness in 2023. And they had several points. The first point, increased ambitions of major emitting countries, which is very important. If you remember in the past conferences, Kyoto and others, countries like US refused to commit to stop emissions. Now, if they are all committing, this is a very good start to reach the target. And it's becoming a source of competitive economic advantage to be reducing emissions. Low carbon energy. Everybody mentioned the fossil fuels, the coal, natural gas and oil, and they provide 82% of world's primary energy. So focusing on that is very important. Decarbonization, trying to replace fossil fuels, we are seeing several initiatives like the offshore wind plants in Japan, Denmark and Ireland, and the solar generation, of course, in many countries for electricity and generating green hydrogen, and of course the nuclear power, which is controversial. Some people want to avoid it and some people find it very useful. The fourth point in KPMG report is that the bottlenecks to achieve lower emissions is shortage of critical minerals, grid infrastructure. You have to have sensors and equipment to measure the emissions and its reduction. Of course, as I said, priority goes to main emitters. We cannot do it all. Now, cost control. It is a big advantage and motivator if the alternate technologies that reduce emissions are profitable. You're not just wasting money to get a better lower emission, you are also making money out of it.
We talked about the emissions, very actually challenges. How you reflect the cost now? We talk about aviation fuel. There's SAF. You know SAF fuel. This is it's also a big issue now. Who will take the charge and the cost for using SAF fuel? Because all the downstream companies, we talk about aviation companies, they will reflect the cost. But you know the SAF fuel is triple cost of the aviation fuel. So how you mitigate this section about the cost and who will take over the cost? Because in fact, the companies are reflected on the customers.
Of course, yes. You know, historically, now you see many ideas and technologies you read about on the internet, but they didn't go to market. Things don't go to market unless they make economic sense. If they don't make economic sense, they don't go to market. On the aviation fuel, you have two challenges. To come up with an economic zero jet fuel. Two, you have to change the engine. The new fuel needs new engine, different engine. So this is not only engines, as we saw even in water heat, in heaters in the houses. The main challenge is the cost of replacing your asset to one which is more cost effective. That's why I'm saying, on one hand, it doesn't work unless it becomes economic. On the other hand, if the solution is profitable, meaning you invest in the beginning but you regain in the later on, it works. So that's why I was mentioning that if the alternate solution is profitable, it's a big push, you still need a budget to acquire it until you regain and get your return on investment. So, as I mentioned, motivators to going the net zero route, first, if you are in a regulated environment, you are obliged either to do something or on pocket sometimes. But the main, it is really not a choice in my opinion. Because the 2 degrees target they put is because if you go beyond 2 degrees, life becomes tough. I've seen a documentary 10 years ago by scientists saying that now the increase in temperature is half a degree. And they showed us the implications. What has happened now with half a degree. Tides rose, etc. And the report ended with the following statement. If we reach 2 degrees, there is no place to hide on Earth. Maybe they exaggerated, maybe it's 2.5, but the idea is Earth will become unlivable if we don't do something to reduce carbon emissions. Generally, green energy is we want to avoid emissions. Basically, this is the main driver. And of course, it's less pollution and you live better, and it's also in many times more cost efficient.
Got 2 issues. One is probably the unemployment increase.
This is always a worry. I remember when they created video conferencing, they said air traffic will decrease. It did not do it. Always something fills the gap. Always. I think with green energy or without it, with artificial intelligence or without it, there are always new sciences and they require new skills. And yes, some jobs disappear. That's why now there is a great tendency that people should reskill because the sciences are advancing fast. I mean, artificial intelligence almost is catching people by surprise. So one needs to reskill. Some jobs will be replaced, really. I don't look at it, somebody becomes jobless, sits at home. You have to readapt to, and this happened in all industries in the past, not just energy and technology. Even simple trade, simple handcraft evolved with time using tools. It was all hand. People have to reskill themselves.
Second thing is, of course, green energy is good, and one will have a good life, and population will increase. But what I came to understand when COVID came, they say they want to reduce the population of the world.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how this works.
Yeah, well,
So they want to kill people. On this side, we want to promote the life of the human being.
yes, I think we want people, while living, to have a better life, higher quality life. Their age is up to God. But yes, people think that because resources of the earth are limited, that we should decrease the number. But I don't believe in forcing that by force.